She ran out of the room when she found out what her husband was carrying under his trousers. Yes, you heard me well. A wedding night that was supposed to be filled with love songs, candlelight, and honeymoon laughter turned into a sprint for survival. Sarah had been dreaming of this moment since she said I do. The gown had been packed, the dancing had ended, and the rice had finished scattering on her head. She followed her new husband, Michael, into the hotel room with that shy smile brides wear. She was ready. But my brothers and sisters, she was not ready for what she saw. Michael, the calm gentleman that he was, stood there with nervous sweat dripping down his forehead. He unbuttoned slowly, praying silently. He had been hiding this secret since secondary school. He had been called names, overloaded, nature's experiment, the boy that carries more than his share. He thought maybe, just maybe, marriage would finally give him peace. But the moment he loosened his trousers, Sarah's eyes widened like torchlight. She screamed, clutched her chest, and before Michael could say, "Baby, wait," she dashed out of the room like Usain Bolt. Neighbors in the hotel corridor rushed out. What happened? Armed robbers. Sarah was trembling. No, something worse. What is carrying under there? It's not normal. Now, pause here. If you were Sarah, what would you do in that situation? Run, stay, or call for a deliverance session? Drop your answer in the comments, because this story is just getting hotter. Michael was not born with a silver spoon, but people swore he was born with a heavy burden. Even as a child, whispers followed him around. His parents thought he was just another bouncing baby boy, but by the time he started primary school, teachers already noticed something different. At first, it was innocent. Boys in the locker room would laugh when changing clothes for sports. "Michael is carrying extra luggage," one boy shouted once, and before he knew it, that nickname followed him everywhere. Mr. Heavy Load. It wasn't funny to him. He hated it. The attention embarrassed him so much that he stopped going for swimming lessons, refused to join football training, and even avoided school camping trips. But gossip has legs. By secondary school, the rumor had grown wings. Girls giggled behind his back. Some teased, others stared, some even ran. One bold girl in SS2 once told him straight to his face, "Michael, God gave you something too big for one person. If you ever marry, your wife will cry tears of blood." Michael laughed then, but deep down, it haunted him. He started praying strange prayers. "God, if you can reduce mountains, why can't you reduce this one?" He grew up quiet, keeping to himself. Boys envied him, girls fed him, and he just wanted to be normal. Sometimes he even wished he could exchange his gift for just peace of mind. But the worst moment came during youth fellowship in church. One evening, while they were playing Bible charades, one of the boys cracked a joke about him. "Brother Michael doesn't need the armor of God. He's already carrying his own weapon." The whole youth hall burst out of laughter. Michael forced a smile, but that night he cried alone in his room. By the time he entered university, Michael had one rule for himself: no intimacy, no relationships, no commitments. He told himself love was not for him. But life, as you know, doesn't always obey our rules. And that was when Sarah entered the picture. Quick stop here. Do you believe someone like Michael should have confessed his situation to Sarah before marriage? Or was he right to hide it, hoping love would cover all things? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This debate is serious. Michael never planned to fall in love. In fact, he had convinced himself that women and marriage were not part of his destiny. But life, as you know, had a surprise waiting. It happened one Saturday afternoon in the university library. Michael had gone there not because he loved books that much, but because the library was one of the few places people didn't bother him. No jokes, no teasing, no questions, just silence. That was when Sarah walked in. Sarah wasn't the loud type. She wasn't even trying to get attention, but the way she carried herself was different. Simple jeans, a plain white top, glasses sliding down her nose, but her smile lit up the whole room. Michael couldn't explain it. For the first time in years, he forgot about his secret. Their first conversation was over a book. Sarah reached for the same copy of Things Fall Apart he was holding. Their hands touched and she laughed. Looks like we both need Achebe to pass this exam. Michael, who normally avoided eye contact, found himself smiling. Then, maybe we should read it together. From that small moment, something began. They became study partners, then lunch partners, then gist partners. Sarah was patient, funny, and kind. Unlike others, Sarah didn't make Michael feel strange. She didn't know about his burden, and he didn't tell her. With her, he felt like a normal guy. By their final year, everyone in school knew them as that couple. Sarah brought Michael out of his shell. He started laughing more, speaking up in class, even joining campus fellowship activities again. She made him believe he could be loved for who he was, not for what he carried. But deep down, he still feared one day she would find out. After graduation, their relationship grew stronger. Sarah's parents loved him. Michael's family adored her. When he finally knelt down and proposed with a ring, Sarah shouted yes so loudly the entire restaurant clapped. For Michael, that moment was pure joy, but also pure fear. He knew marriage meant there would be no more hiding. Still, he convinced himself, love is stronger than anything. She will understand. She will stay. But as you already saw, on their wedding night, love is not blind.
The wedding day was like a dream. Sarah looked radiant in her white gown, walking down the aisle with that shy but confident smile. Michael stood waiting at the altar, his heart beating like a talking drum. Friends and family cheered, phones recorded, and the pastor declared them husband and wife. On the outside, everything was perfect, but inside Michael's chest, a storm was brewing. He knew what was coming when the music stopped, when the dancing ended, when the hotel door closed. For years he had avoided this moment, but tonight there was no escape. After the reception, they entered the hotel suite. The cake had been cut, the rice thrown, the dance floor scattered. Michael locked the door quietly. Sarah giggled, playfully pushing him onto the bed. She whispered, "Finally, we're husband and wife. No more waiting." Michael smiled weakly, sweat forming on his forehead. He tried to play along, but his heart was racing. He unbuttoned slowly, praying, "Lord, please let her understand. Please let her not run." But Sarah's laughter faded the moment she noticed. Her eyes widened. She froze. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Then suddenly, she screamed, "Michael, what is this?" Before he could explain, Sarah grabbed her gown and bolted. She ran out of the room barefoot, down the hotel corridor, shouting, "No, this is not normal." Guests peeped out of their doors. Some thought there was a thief. Others thought she had seen a ghost. But when Sarah blurted out, "What he's carrying under his trousers is not human," the gossip fire started immediately. Within minutes, whispers spread. "Did you hear? The bride ran away from the groom. She said what he has is too much." Ha! So love did not blind her after all. Michael sat on the edge of the bed, humiliated. He buried his face in his hands. This was his nightmare unfolding in real life. The secret he had hidden all his life had destroyed his marriage before it even began. Sarah, meanwhile, locked herself in another room, shaking. She wasn't sure if she should laugh, cry, or pray. She loved Michael deeply, but what she saw terrified her. She didn't know whether to see it as a blessing, a curse, or a punishment. The next morning, both families were already aware. Sarah's mother called it a spiritual attack. Michael's uncle laughed and said, "At least it shows our family is powerful." The pastor said it was nothing prayer could not handle. And of course, neighbors said it was Sarah's fault for not appreciating God's generous gift. But Sarah wasn't laughing, and Michael wasn't smiling. By the second day after the wedding night disaster, the entire town already knew. Before Michael or Sarah could even breathe, neighbors had turned the matter into a full committee discussion. At the barber's shop, have you heard? Sarah ran out because Michael is carrying a whole generator inside his trousers. At the market, no wonder that boy was always walking gently. If I were him, I would just be wearing wrapper every day. Michael felt like the ground should swallow him. He couldn't step outside without whispers following him like shadows. Meanwhile, Sarah was hiding at her mother's house, refusing to speak to anyone. Families had to intervene. Sarah's mother insisted, "This is not normal. We must take him for deliverance. The devil has planted something in that boy's body." Michael's uncle disagreed. "Deliverance? For what? Don't you know women are praying every night for a husband like him? Your daughter is ungrateful. In our time, she would have thanked God and cooked soup immediately." The pastor tried to calm everyone down. "Brethren, let us not fight. What God has created, no man should condemn. We will fast and pray. With prayer and holy oil, even mountains can move." But Sarah's elder sister burst out laughing. "Move? Pastor, this mountain is not moving anywhere. It's permanent." Even Michael's father shook his head. "Michael, why didn't you tell her before marriage? You should have confessed early, not wait until the night of surprise." Michael sat quietly, tears in his eyes. He had lived with shame all his life, hoping love would be different. Now his worst fear was happening: public ridicule. Sarah, meanwhile, was torn. She loved Michael deeply, but every time she remembered that night, her body shook. Fear battled with love inside her heart. Since prayers didn't calm Sarah, her family decided, "Let us hear from science." So off they went. Sarah, her mother, Michael, and two curious aunties who refused to miss the drama. The hospital waiting room was tense. Nurses were whispering, already aware of why they came. One nurse even peeked at Michael and muttered, "So this is the famous groom, eh? The one carrying heavy duty." Another nurse giggled until her pen fell from her pocket. Finally, the doctor called them in. A serious-looking man with glasses. He adjusted his stethoscope and said, "So, what seems to be the problem?" Sarah's mother jumped in immediately. "Doctor, this boy is abnormal. What he's carrying under there is too much. Please tell us if it is disease or witchcraft." The doctor coughed, trying to stay professional. "Madam, please calm down. Michael, can you step behind the curtain for examination?" Michael swallowed hard. He hated this moment, but he obeyed. The room went quiet. A few minutes later, the doctor walked out, shaking his head slowly. Everyone leaned forward. "Well," he began, "there is no disease, no witchcraft. He is simply extremely blessed beyond the normal measurement." Sarah gasped. Her mother shouted, "Blessed? That kind of blessing is a curse." But the doctor raised his hand. Actually, medically, it can cause problems, not for him, but for his partner. It can lead to injuries, fear, even trauma. The doctor continued, "The decision is yours. If you love him, you must find a way to walk through it. But if you cannot, then it is better to walk away than to live in fear." Michael wiped his eyes. Sarah held her head. The weight of love, culture, shame, and science crashed into one small room. Over to you. Do you think Sarah should stay and fight for the love she once believed in, or should she walk away for her own peace? Comment below, because even the doctors and elders are divided on this matter.